If you've ever wondered what a giant cactus pollen looks like, here's your chance to find out. A sculpture inspired by cactus pollen is just one of the pieces of art taking root at Austin's Old Mueller Airport. News 8's Amy Hadley talked to the local artist who's created some of the artwork.
It's mostly a bunch of dirt right now, but by the end of the day today, there's going to be at least two very recognizable and finished features of this newest park at the Mueller development. Check this out. I love this. This is a giant cactus pollen that you've been working on for how long, Chris?
Several months.
Several months?
Yeah.
And these rings are each cut from oil pipes?
That's, yeah, I used a refinery pipe, sliced refinery pipe, and different sizes, as you can tell, to kind of get a different effect. Basically, they're all, each one represents a cell that would put together for a pollen grain. Yeah.
So this is 700,000 times the size of an actual pollen.
Roughly 700,000 times.
Somewhere around there, ballpark.
Yeah.
So where'd you come up with the idea?
Well, being an asthmatic and living in Austin, it's not hard to, when you think about nature, the first thing you think about,
Right.
And this whole park is a natural area, and so it's kind of a fitting, also kind of a fun play on the whole pollen.
And speaking of fun play, that is kind of the idea behind this sculpture, because you can walk underneath it.
That's right.
And the one that's going in within a few hours, right?
That's right. Wigwam is the other sculpture that's being installed here, and it is due out at lunchtime. We're going to be piecing it together with a crane and some welders. This piece on the truck right now is just the bottom, the top third of the sculpture. But then the rig is coming in. Basically, the 1/3 of it is the top part. I call this the helix crown.
So this is just a piece of it. The helix crown is pretty
That's
small
just the
in
top
comparison.
End. That's right.
So people will be able to walk into this one too?
Yes, this is in the center of a labyrinth. We're standing in what will be a large labyrinth with a lot of natural plant life. And this piece becomes the center of the labyrinth, kind of the focal point. As the trail works its way in, it comes to the center here, and we'll be able to walk under it and get a little shade.
Sounds like a fun park.
Yeah.
On its way to being a fun park. And you actually, what's great about the fact that you're involved is you live, what, 3/4 of a mile from here?
That's right.
Talk about local artist.
You couldn't get any more local.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's fun to watch this whole park develop and be part of it and get to add something else to it as well.
Well, and one of the goals of this development is that no home be more than 600 feet from a park, and you're kind of grandfathered into that, so you're pretty close to all sorts of neat stuff.
Yeah, that's true. It's fun to get on my bike and ride around here.
Bring the kids?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to bring my daughters here.
Excellent.
Take a look at it once we're done.
Yeah, you've got some bragging rights in this park now.
Yeah, I do.
Very good. Thanks, Chris, for showing us your stuff.
Thank you.
So here at the Mueller development, they are committed to at least 20% of the acreage, which is about 140 acres, being green space. So this Southwest Greenway is one of the spaces. They'll be maintaining this as a blackland prairie area. The idea being, what would this look like if an airport had never been here? So all native stuff here in this particular park. Amy Hadley, News 8 from East Austin.
And it's not just art springing up at Mueller. The old airport is now home to several businesses and making way for residential development. That includes more than 4,600 single-family condo or apartment homes.
Finally here at 5, a giant grain of pollen has blown into Austin. Not to worry, though, it's not going to trigger any allergies.
Crews used a crane to install a giant pollen along the greenway in the Mueller development. 14-foot sphere was designed by artist Chris Levack. He used a microscopic picture of cactus pollen. Another 17-foot structure called the Wigwam is also being installed.
Two giant sculptures going up today at the Mueller redevelopment. The artist Chris Levack was on hand as the nature-inspired steelworks were hoisted up in the Southwest Greenway. The piece called Pollen Grain depicts a microscopic photo of a single cactus pollen, and Wigwam is meant to serve as a destination at the center of a labyrinth of native grasses.
More development at the old Mueller Airport site in East Austin. Crews installed two pieces of artwork this morning in the Southwest Greenway there. These were created by local artist and Mueller neighbor Chris Levack. The pieces are steel works named Pollen Grain and Wigwam. Crews used a 30-ton crane to safely place those pieces.
Very interesting, too.
A massive project today on the Southwest Greenway near the old Mueller Airport. Two large sculptures, one of them requiring a crane, were put into place. They are called Pollen Grain and Wigwam. It's a representation of a microscopic photo of a single cactus pollen. Wigwam sits in the center of a maze made from tall native grasses and is meant to be a shady focal point within it.
At the old Mueller Airport site in East Austin, 2 pieces of artwork were installed this morning in the Southwest Greenway. This artwork was created by local artist and Mueller neighbor Chris Levac. The pieces are steel works named Pollen Grain and Wigwam. A 30-ton crane was used to safely place the pieces on the ground.